Okay, guys, this is going to be part three of teenagers dealing with suicide. And I want to go over a couple of things I didn't get a chance to do in part two. This is not going to be a long one per se, but I want to get this point across. The first two pieces that we've done is about really empowering parents and other siblings and friends working with teenagers, living with teenagers, which is insane in itself, and understanding what they might be going through and not to be afraid to make the changes, to ask questions that are concerning, that are troubling, and not to be intimidated and realize you don't necessarily need a mental quote quote mental health professional that's going to guide you through it. I hate to say this, but I want to bring this really up. A lot of mental health people don't have the skills. They don't have the ability. So if you're going to wait for an appointment, oh, we can get you in 4 weeks. Oh, we have an intern for you. I think you're kind of prying. We're not asking the right questions. We'll leave her alone, leave him alone. That might not be effective. So I want you to realize there are things that you can do on a mental checklist to look out for these people, for these situations, and say, you know what, let me make this happen beforehand so I can take care of it. That's really the whole theme of this particular segment on teen suicide. All right, a couple of things. This is now, here we're in the God forbid stage. All right, it does happen. Child has committed suicide. You've gone to the funeral, and now you're coming home to a house. And that house is now a lot different. It's going to be different the rest of your life. That's reality. How do you cope? What should you be aware of? All right. A lot of times what happens is after a suicide, people start to isolate. They don't want to go outside the house. And what I'm saying is, and particularly in a family, it becomes like, let's never talk about it again. Let's never discuss it again. It never happened. We clean out the room. It disappears. All the stuff is gone. The trophies, the pictures, the posters, the bread spreads, gone, gone, gone. Burn it, throw it away, Goodwill. And anytime there's another family occasion of life, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Passover, a wedding, quinceañera, someone's graduating from high school, you never talk about it again because you don't want to upset your mother, your father, your siblings. No one talks about it. 60 people in the room, and no one discusses, where is he? Where is she? Oh, we don't want to do that. We don't want to make anyone upset. It's okay to talk about it. It's also not okay. It's also okay not to talk about it as well. What I'm saying is, don't think if you don't talk about it that that's the answer. Some people do want to talk about it. They do want to share. I remember when one of my friends committed suicide, and I was like this. I was in shock. I was shell-shocked. I talked about it with a friend of mine for a couple of hours. What made him do it? It was like I had to vomit out my feelings. I was stunned. I remember driving like the next week or so. I drove like this, like a robot. I would think about this all the time because I liked the person so much. And I spent dozens of hours talking about it with somebody else, trying. What did I miss? What did I fail to see for myself? So a lot of times with siblings, this is for parents, don't think the siblings are not grieving. They may be happy, chattering, giggly, life is normal, but it's not. Don't isolate them. Ask them how they're feeling. Let them vent. Let them get their grief out of their system. That's okay. And if they say to you, Mom, I miss him. Mom, I'm crying, that's normal. Don't try and suppress that. Let the person feel they have their say and they have their time to get things off their chest because they need to. A lot of times, I was just one article, this comment was, I was completely devastated. But each time I went to the village, everyone without exception asked me how my mother was, as if I had no feelings about it at all. How's my mom? How's my mom? But I had no feelings. Often we look at kids as like, again, as I said before in part two, they're resilient. They're not. They're soaking in all this information, and they need you to be like the spearhead, the head person to let them know it's okay to grieve. It's okay. Death in itself is spooky. Death in itself is scary. My dad died a little over a year ago, and my sister was rocked. And it affected her. And even though he was ill for quite some time, nursing home, couldn't really comment and talk to you. The dementia. When he died, my sister lost it for a little bit. And I'm not even blaming my sister. That's normal, how my sister felt. That's just a regular death of a fairly old person. My dad was in his 90s, and it rocked my sister's world. Can you imagine a suicide? It's like times 1,000, times 100,000, times 1,000,000. All right. How do you help your teens again cope as a parent? Okay? Acknowledge the child's emotions. They're going to be emotional. Let them get it out. Okay? Some will say that they said they felt guilty. Why didn't I see? Why didn't I know? Why didn't I observe? Anyone watching this video, let me tell you something. Doing this now for 20 years, I've had thousands of patients, worked in all kinds of settings. For every person that committed suicide, I had no clue. So the great Bruce Muffson was not so great. I had to learn to step back and realize that. I could question what they do like in football, Monday morning quarterback. Yeah, the wide receiver was really open. I shouldn't have thrown it to the other guy. Or now I look back on the film, the running back had a clean path to the goal line. That's what they call Monday morning quarterbacking. Meaning, yeah, after you have a chance to look it over and see everything stop and start, you can make a better decision. With suicide, people do that all the time. And you can't do that because often you're going to be 100% wrong. You don't know. You don't know what's going through the person's mind where they felt such despair to decide to end his or her life. But let your children get their emotions out. Don't shut them out. And if you think they're going to need you less, they're going to need you even more. They need you to be engaged with them and let them know, hey, we're going to get through this. We're a family. We're going to close ranks. We're together. Okay? There's no right or wrong way to feel, and they can process how they feel when they're ready. Could be a week, month, year, 5 years. It's up to your kid. Give your kid the chance to vent on their level. All right. People are always like, oh, should I talk about it? Should I bring it up? You need to be connected. Don't do that isolation stuff. I hate that. I hate when people do this. I'm an island, okay? I don't need anyone's support. No. This is the time you need to be here. And you know what happens when you start doing that nonsense about I don't need anybody? Here's what happens. Stress, drug and alcohol abuse, dysfunctional thinking, dysfunctional choices. So don't do that. Don't be an island, like I don't need anybody, I can always do it myself. You can't. You can't do it as a parent. You can't do it as a parent talking to your children. Don't be this mindset of, I can handle it. I'm doing fine, Reverend. Thank you, Minister. Oh, thank you, Miss Johnson. Yeah, I'm not going to attend services this Friday night. I'm okay. I got my act together. I know what I'm doing. I've always been calm, cool, and collected. No. Now's the time to those that you trust, those that you feel comfortable with, open yourself up, bring them in. Don't isolate. Not a good time. That's when all bad things start to happen. Okay. Also, what will happen is sometimes the schools will do, if there's a suicide in a class, well, through a classmate, they'll bring in counselors. It's okay. Use resources that are available. Are they all good? Are they semi-good? It's hit or miss, to be honest with you. But if there's an opportunity to take advantage of it, take advantage of it. If it can help you, take advantage of the help. Don't isolate and don't say, I don't need it. See if it can benefit you. Sometimes in counseling, it's so annoying after a while. It's like people say to me, I wish I would have talked to you 20 years ago. I wish I would have said something when it happened. I don't know why I kept it in. Yeah, stupid. You got a chance. Let it go. Open yourself up. No one's going to make fun of you or make light of you. And if they do, then they're idiots. Don't hang around those morons. Okay. Everyone is going again and again and again. You're going to have it where people are going to be crying. There'll be anger. There'll be silence. Okay. It's okay to go as a group to therapy. It's okay to go as a group to counseling. It's not a problem to do that. Here's a biggie. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays are going to be very, very difficult and very, very painful. Accept that. Oh my God, he would have been 18 today. Oh my God, she was 17 this year. This is the anniversary of the first time he was able to accomplish something on the football field. The first time he scored 2 touchdowns in a game. Boom. hurts. Oh, this is the day she got a driver's license. Those dates are going to come and bite you in the butt. Accept that, expect that, and don't let yourself lose it or get upset about it. Turn off my phone, sorry. Okay, now, and if that means you want to have friends over to get through the day, or you want to isolate, when we talk about isolation, just using common sense about it, it's okay either way. Do what works for you. And again, I want to finally close with this. Stop trying to look for answers. You're probably not going to get the answer you want. Even if people leave a note behind, they leave a message behind, rarely do you get the person to understand why would you do this action. It was so devastating. What were you thinking? Let it go, let it go, let it go. You're not going to get the answer you want anyway. And here's the point. You got to forgive. That means for your child, what they've done, and for yourself. You got to get past that anger, that frustration, that bitterness. Forgive your child. They were in a terrible place of pain. That's the reality. They were in a lot of pain. And for your pain, forgive yourself, because you're not a bad mother. You're not a bad father. You weren't a bad sibling. You weren't a bad partner or friend. The person was in a place that they just could not feel they could reach out and grab any help. I'm going to close with that. And again, I just want to focus. This is the aftermath. But I want to say again, you have more power. You have more self-awareness. You have more comprehension than you realize. Don't be afraid to initiate the first step. Thank you.